At dawn, before the monitors and medications, before the world learned to chase health in pills and procedures, humans relied on something far more instinctive. Picture a man in a quiet hospital room, exhausted from years of battling inflammation and fatigue. He has tried every supplement, every diet, every promise packaged in a bottle. Nothing has worked. But on this particular morning, something unexpected begins to shift. Not because of what he takes, but because of what he stops doing. For the first time in his adult life, he allows his body to rest from eating. Within hours, a kind of biological intelligence stirs, a healing rhythm he never knew was there. This scene isn't rare, it's simply forgotten. We live in a world where eating is constant, where silence in the digestive system feels almost unnatural. Yet fasting, this ancient built-in mechanism, remains the most powerful medicine we're not using. Modern life has dulled the signals our ancestors trusted, disconnecting us from the innate ability to repair, recycle, and rejuvenate at the cellular level. Fasting is not about deprivation. It's about liberation from cravings, inflammation, and metabolic noise. And now, it's time to uncover how this quiet practice reshapes the body from within and why reclaiming it is essential for true vitality. When the body enters a fasting state, something extraordinary unfolds beneath the surface. Not a crisis, not a shutdown, but a shift into its most elegant form of self-preservation and renewal. Far from the fear-laden idea of starvation, fasting is a coordinated biological symphony, a state in which every cell seems to remember exactly what to do. The moment digestion quiets, the body redirects its energy from processing food to repairing itself, almost as if it has been waiting for the opportunity. One of the first transformations occurs in the cellular housekeeping system known as autophagy. Picture it as a team of highly skilled maintenance workers who step in the moment the kitchen closes. They clear out damaged proteins, misfolded structures, and tired components that slow metabolism and contribute to aging. These workers don't just tidy, they recycle, turning what's no longer useful into fresh building material. It's the body's version of deep spring cleaning. But at the molecular level, inflammation also begins to settle. Chronic inflammation, the silent driver of fatigue, weight gain, joint pain, and many modern diseases, thrives when insulin levels are constantly elevated and the digestive system stays busy. Fasting gently lowers insulin and calms inflammatory pathways, creating space for healing signals to take the lead. It's like turning down the volume on background noise so the body can finally hear. What needs attention? Hormones shift too, not chaotically but intentionally. Human growth hormone rises to preserve muscle and mobilize energy. Insulin drops, improving metabolic flexibility. Cellular receptors become more responsive, as if they've been reset. Even hunger hormones rebalance. Many people are surprised to discover that fasting often quiets cravings rather than intensifying them. The body isn't panicking, it's adapting. This is the essence of metabolic intelligence, a built-in wisdom honed over thousands of years when food was not always available. Our physiology evolved to move gracefully between fed and fasted states. Modern life, with round-the-clock eating and constant snacking, has forced the body into a single metabolic gear, one that overstimulates insulin, taxes digestion, and prevents repair. Fasting restores the natural rhythm, allowing metabolism to become flexible again. It's important to separate fasting from restrictive dieting because the two could not be more different. Dieting focuses on willpower, rules, and calorie control, often leaving people feeling deprived and disconnected from their bodies. Fasting works with the body, not against it. Instead of forcing change from the outside, it activates healing mechanisms from within. It feels less like restriction and more like release. Release from constant hunger cues, from fluctuations in energy, from the pressure to control every bite. When given a break from non-stop digestion, the body doesn't weaken. It recalibrates, it repairs, it renews. There is a deep sense of empowerment that comes from understanding this biological intelligence, a reassurance that health isn't always something we must chase. Sometimes it's something we simply need to allow. In the quiet spaces between meals, the human body once found balance. Our ancestors moved through cycles of feast and fast, guided by daylight, season, and availability. Their bodies learned to store energy when food was plentiful and draw from those reserves when it wasn't. This natural ebb and flow shaped a metabolism built on flexibility, resilience, and adaptability. But modern life has replaced that rhythm with an unbroken stream of eating, snacking, sipping, and grazing, creating a metabolic environment the body was never designed to navigate. Today, food is everywhere, in cars, desks, purses, pockets, and screens. We wake up and eat, work and eat, drive and eat, relax and eat, stay up late and eat again. Every bite triggers an insulin response, and when insulin stays elevated throughout the day, the body never has a chance to access stored energy. Over time, the cells stop responding properly, a condition known as insulin resistance. This isn't a moral failure or lack of discipline. It's the predictable result of overstimulation. The system becomes overwhelmed and eventually stops listening. Alongside this constant insulin signaling comes chronic inflammation. Ultra-processed foods, excess sugar, and artificial additives layer stress on the digestive and immune systems. Instead of brief inflammatory bursts that help the body heal, the flame stays lit around the clock. People begin to feel it as bloating, joint stiffness, skin issues, brain fog, and an exhaustion that sleep doesn't fix. The body sends signals, but in a culture of perpetual eating, those signals are often drowned out by habit and convenience. The roller coaster of blood sugar highs and crashes adds another layer of metabolic strain. A sugary breakfast or quick snack may offer a burst of energy, but the follow-up drop leaves the body searching for another hit. Mood swings, irritability, and difficulty concentrating are not character flaws, they are metabolic messages asking for steadiness. Yet the cycle continues, reinforced by foods engineered for pleasure rather than nourishment. Late-night eating adds a final twist. When the sun goes down, the body naturally shifts into repair mode. Hormones cue rest, digestion slows, and the liver begins detoxifying. Eating late forces the system back into processing mode, creating a mismatch between lifestyle and biology. Nighttime calories are more likely to be stored. Sleep becomes more fragmented, and morning hunger becomes dysregulated. None of this is about blame. It's about understanding how profoundly our environment has changed, and how gently the body responds when given a chance to return to its design. Fasting reintroduces the metabolic pauses our ancestors lived by. It lowers insulin, calms inflammation, and steadies energy. It reminds the body that it doesn't need to be in constant intake mode. With even small shifts toward intentional fasting windows, the body begins to realign with its natural rhythm, recovering flexibility, clarity, and vitality that constant eating had quietly taken away. There is a moment in every fasting journey when the body quiets and the mind begins to clear, almost as if someone has lowered the static on an internal radio. What emerges is not just sharper thinking, but a kind of emotional steadiness that many people haven't felt in years. It often begins subtly, a morning with less urgency, an afternoon without the usual crash, a sense that decisions come more easily. Fasting touches the mind in ways that go far beyond food. It helps create space for a calmer, more resilient version of ourselves to surface. When we stop eating for a period of time, the brain shifts into a different metabolic mode. Glucose dips, ketones rise, and these ketones become a clean, efficient fuel source. Many people describe the resulting mental clarity as a lifted fog. This isn't imagined. Ketones support mitochondrial function, improve neural energy efficiency, and even stimulate the production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, a protein that strengthens neurons and supports neuroplasticity. In simple terms, fasting helps the brain rewire, repair, and sharpen. Focus becomes steadier, thoughts more organized, and creativity easier to access. Emotionally, fasting creates a surprising sense of calm. With insulin and blood sugar swings reduced, mood becomes more stable. The highs and lows that once dictated behavior begin to soften. Without constant grazing, people learn to separate true hunger from emotional hunger, the urge to eat out of boredom, stress, habit, or self-soothing. This is one of the most profound shifts fasting offers. It gently reveals the patterns that have been running in the background for years. Instead of reaching for a snack to escape discomfort, fasting invites a moment of awareness. What am I actually feeling? What does my body really need right now? Over time, this awareness becomes empowering. Many describe fasting as a way of reclaiming their relationship with food. The constant pull toward cravings begins to loosen, and in its place grows a sense of inner steadiness. It's not about avoiding food or denying pleasure, it's about no longer feeling controlled by impulses. Fasting strengthens the muscle of discipline in a way that feels grounded rather than rigid. Each successful fasting window becomes a quiet reminder of capability, a message that the body and mind are stronger than old habits suggested. Fasting also nurtures emotional resilience. By practicing small periods of voluntary discomfort, people build confidence in their ability to move through stress without immediately seeking comfort in food. This carries into daily life. The same steadiness that helps someone move through a hunger wave can help them navigate a difficult conversation, a stressful workday, or a moment of anxiety. Fasting teaches patience, presence, and trust in the body's ability to handle fluctuations. Perhaps the most meaningful change is the rediscovery of one's true baseline. Many people haven't felt their natural energy or emotional calm in years because their metabolism has been tangled in cravings, blood sugar swings, and constant stimulation. Fasting removes the clutter. It allows the brain to function as it was meant to, the emotions to settle, and the body to breathe. What emerges is a clearer, more centered version of oneself, not created by fasting but revealed by it. There are many ways to fast, and the right approach depends less on rules and more on how each person's body responds. Fasting isn't a one-size-fits-all practice. It's a rhythm you learn to harmonize. Each method offers a different experience, a different internal shift, and a different level of commitment. What matters most is choosing a style that feels supportive rather than stressful, empowering rather than rigid. Intermittent fasting is the most familiar starting point. It usually means fasting for a set number of hours each day, perhaps 12, 14, or 16, and eating in the remaining window. Many people find that a simple 12-hour fast from dinner to breakfast is enough to feel lighter and more energized. It gently lowers insulin, gives the digestive system a rest, and begins to restore metabolic flexibility. This approach works well for beginners, busy schedules, and anyone wanting to introduce structure without strain. Time-restricted eating takes this concept a bit further, aligning food intake with the body's natural circadian rhythms. Eating during daylight hours, roughly between sunrise and early evening, supports hormonal balance, gut health, and sleep. People often notice that eating earlier in the day and closing the kitchen earlier at night improves digestion, reduces nighttime cravings, and enhances morning clarity. This method is especially helpful for those who struggle with late-night snacking or disrupted sleep. A 24-hour fast, done once or twice a week, creates a deeper physiological reset. It allows insulin levels to drop further, encourages autophagy, and gives the body a full cycle of digestive rest. Many people find that a dinner-to-dinner or lunch-to-lunch fast feels surprisingly manageable because it still includes one meal each calendar day. This style suits individuals who enjoy a structured challenge or who feel comfortable going longer without food once or twice a week. Extended fasts, lasting more than 24 hours, offer profound metabolic changes, but they require more experience, intention, and body awareness. These fasts can amplify autophagy, reduce inflammation, and significantly improve insulin sensitivity. However, they are best approached gradually, with previous fasting practice and a calm, supportive environment. Extended fasting is not about pushing limits. It's about giving the body space to heal when one feels mentally and emotionally prepared. The most sustainable fasting method often combines flexibility with self-awareness. Some days the body may welcome a longer fasting window, Our days it may need nourishment earlier. Easing into fasting can mean delaying breakfast by an hour, finishing dinner a bit sooner, or choosing one day a week to extend the fasting window. Drinking water, staying busy during cravings, and breaking the fast gently all support a smoother experience. Common mistakes, like pushing too hard, fasting during high stress, or overeating when the window opens, can be avoided by staying attuned to internal cues. What makes fasting powerful is not strict adherence, but the freedom it creates when tailored to one's life. Experimentation becomes a form of self-discovery. The goal isn't perfection, it's finding a rhythm that supports energy, clarity, and well-being. When fasting aligns with individual needs, it becomes not a rule to follow, but a lifestyle that naturally fits. Fasting may feel new in a world filled with diet trends and wellness fads, but it is one of the oldest biological patterns written into the human body. Long before schedules, supermarkets, and smartphones, people lived by rhythms of daylight and seasons. Food came in cycles. Hunger had meaning. Pauses between meals were natural, not engineered. In many ways, fasting isn't a thing to learn, but something to remember. A return to the way the human body was designed to thrive. When we fast, we reconnect with these lost rhythms. We experience what it feels like to be truly hungry, and what it feels like to be truly satisfied. Modern eating has blurred these sensations, but fasting brings them back into focus. There is a simplicity to it, a quietness that contrasts sharply with the constant noise of our food-abundant culture. Without needing equipment, supplements, or elaborate plans, fasting allows the body to shift into a mode it understands instinctively. It's a practice that belongs to every culture, every era, every physiology. Science now validates what ancient humans lived by necessity. Fasting activates cellular repair, supports metabolic health, and strengthens resilience. It is one of the few healing tools that is both powerful and completely accessible. No cost, no barriers, no special resources required. Just time, intention, and the willingness to step back from constant intake. This simplicity is part of what makes fasting profound. It reminds us that restoring health doesn't always demand complexity. Sometimes it requires returning to what is most natural. Approaching fasting with respect and curiosity transforms the experience. It's not a contest of willpower or a measure of discipline. It's a conversation with your body, a chance to understand your internal cues without the interference of constant eating. Some days the fast feels effortless, other days it feels more challenging. Both are meaningful. Patience allows the body to adapt, to unfold its intelligence at its own pace. The more someone practices fasting, the more they begin to notice subtle shifts: clearer mornings, steadier emotions, deeper sleep, more stable energy. Cravings lose their grip, and decision-making becomes easier. The relationship with food becomes more peaceful. These changes ripple outward, affecting mood, productivity, self-trust, and even how one navigates stress. Fasting becomes not just a metabolic tool, but a life tool, a way of creating space, clarity, and alignment. Reclaiming this ancient practice has the power to alter the trajectory of one's well-being. It brings us back to balance, back to rhythm, back to the innate wisdom embedded in our biology. In a world that encourages constant consumption, fasting becomes an act of remembering who we are. It offers a path toward energy that feels clean, health that feels sustainable, and vitality that feels authentic. By returning to this natural cycle, we rediscover a version of ourselves that modern life had quietly pushed out of reach.